Hi, everyone. Welcome to the English Cast. I'm Ryan, and we're really happy you're here with us today.
Hey everyone, I'm Emma. Whether you're listening on your way to work or relaxing at home, this podcast is here to help you feel more confident using real English in real life.
Our goal is to help you build your confidence by listening to real, everyday conversations.
Exactly. Just relax, listen, and practice with us.
So, Emma, before we jump into today's topic, how was your weekend?
My weekend was very quiet, but I had a good time. I did the laundry on Saturday morning, and then I just stayed home. I was very tired from work, so I am feeling much better now.
That sounds like a perfectly relaxing weekend. I noticed you just used three very common words when you talked about your days. You said you did the laundry, you had a good time, and you were tired.
I use those words all the time without even thinking about them. The words be, do, and have are probably the most common words we use every single day. But they can be a little tricky because they change depending on who is talking.
They definitely change a lot. I think it is a great idea to just talk about how we use them in normal everyday life. We can start with the word be, which we use to talk about simple facts, locations, and feelings.
That is a great place to start. For example, if I am at the supermarket, I use the word be to talk about my location. I just say, I am at the store. Or if I want to talk about my mood, I say, I am happy.
And if we talk about one other person, we use the word is. I can say, my brother is at the park. Or I can say, the coffee is very hot today. We use it for singular people or things to state a simple fact.
Exactly. And for a group of people, we use the word are. I often look out the window and say, the children are in the garden. Or I can say, my coworkers are very busy this morning.
Those are great examples for the present time, but we often tell stories about yesterday or last week. When we talk about the past, am and is change to was. The word are changes to were.
That makes telling stories much easier. So instead of saying, I am tired today, I can say, I was tired yesterday. Ryan, where were you and your friends last night?
My friends and I were at a new Italian restaurant in the city. The food was absolutely delicious, and the waiters were very friendly. We were all very full by the end of the night.
That sounds like a wonderful evening. You use the past forms perfectly for your group and for the food. It is so easy to talk about facts and locations when you know those simple patterns.
It really is simple. Now, let us talk about the word have. We use this word when we own something or to talk about our family and daily schedules. It is a very useful word for daily life.
I use this word constantly at the office. I often tell my boss, I have a meeting at 2 o'clock. I also use it to talk about things I own, like my mobile phone. I have a new phone that takes great pictures.
We also use it to talk about our family members or even health problems. I can say, I have 2 older brothers. If I am feeling sick, I can call the doctor and say, I have a terrible headache.
Now, there is a small change we make when we talk about one other person. For a single person, like he or she, the word becomes has. For example, I cannot say, my sister have a car. I must say, my sister has a car.
That is a very important detail. If I talk about my manager, I say, he has a very busy schedule today. Or if I talk about my friend, I can say, she has a beautiful new apartment in the city.
And the best part is the past tense. When we talk about the past, the word is always had. It does not matter if we talk about one person or a big group. The word is exactly the same for everyone.
I absolutely love how simple that is. I can say, I had a great time yesterday. Or I can say, they had a problem with their computer last week. Emma, what is something you owned when you were a child?
When I was 10 years old, I had a very fast green bicycle. My brother also had a bicycle, and we rode them to school every day. We had a lot of fun on those bikes during the summer.
Those sound like very happy childhood memories. You easily use the word had to describe your past possessions. Another word we use every single day is the word do, which is all about physical chores and work.
It is definitely an active word. I use it every weekend when I clean my apartment. I tell my friends, I do the laundry on Saturday mornings, and then I do the dishes after dinner.
We use it for office work too. I can say, I always do my paperwork before lunch. Just like the word have, this word changes for one single person in the present time. We add an ES to make it does.
So if I talk about my coworker, I say, he does a great job with the clients. Or if I talk about my roommate, I can say, she does the grocery shopping on Fridays. It just takes a little practice to remember that S sound.
And just like our last word, the past tense for do is incredibly simple. In the past, it becomes did for every single person. I did. He did. They did. It never changes, no matter who is speaking.
That makes it so easy to use in professional conversations. I can say, I did my homework last night. Or I can tell my boss, the team did a wonderful job on the presentation yesterday afternoon.
This happens at the office all the time. Emma, if your manager asked you about your morning tasks from yesterday, what exactly would you tell him?
I would tell him, I did the financial report at 9 o'clock. Then I did the safety check in the warehouse. I did a lot of hard work before the lunch break even started.
Those are excellent professional examples. We have talked a lot about these words as main actions, but they also have another very important job in English. We often use them as little helpers to ask questions or make negative sentences.
That is completely correct. They do not mean anything by themselves in this situation. They just help another action word. Let us start with the helper do. We use it at the beginning of a sentence to ask simple questions.
For example, if I want to invite you to a restaurant, I ask, do you like Italian food? The main action in that sentence is the word like. The word do is just a helper that shows I am asking a question.
And if I want to ask about your brother, I use does because he is a single person. I ask, does he work in the city? The helper does moves to the front of the sentence to form the question politely.
We also use them to say no. If I decline your dinner invitation, I say, I do not like Italian food. The helper word carries the negative word not. If my brother works from home, I say, he does not work in the city.
In the past tense, we use the helper did to ask questions and say no. I can ask you, did you go to the gym yesterday? The helper did shows that I am asking about your past routine.
And I can answer, no, I did not go to the gym. I was too tired. It is very natural to use the helper did in almost every past tense conversation we have with our friends.
Now let us talk about how we use be as a helper. We use am, is, and are to show that an action is happening right now, in this exact moment. We use the helper and we add the letters ing to the main action.
For example, right now I am talking to you on the podcast. The main action is talk. The word am helps to show that the action is continuous and not finished yet.
If you look outside, you can say, the rain is falling, Or if you see some people on the street, you can say, they are walking to the bus stop. It is a very common way to describe what you see happening right now.
We also use are used for questions about right now. I can call you on the phone and ask, are you working today? The helper are moves to the front to ask the question about your current situation.
And I can answer, no, I am not working today. I am relaxing at home. It is very natural to use the continuous form for weekend plans or daily routines that are happening right now.
And we can use the past forms was and were to talk about continuous actions in the past. I often use this when I tell a story about an interrupted event. I can say, I was sleeping when the phone rang.
That is a perfect way to set the scene for a story. I can say, we were driving to the beach when the car broke down. The helper verbs was and were paint a clear picture of what was happening before the problem started.
Finally, we use have and has as helpers to talk about our past life experiences. We use them when we want to share something we did, but we do not say the exact date. It connects the past to our life today.
This is very useful in job interviews or when you meet new people. You can say, I have visited Japan 3 times. The main action is visited, and the helper, have, simply shows it is an experience you carry with you.
And if we talk about a friend's experience, we use has. I can say, my coworker has worked in the sales department for 5 years. It sounds very professional and polite when you speak about someone's career.
We also use have to ask questions about experiences. I can ask a new friend, have you seen the new action movie? The helper, have, moves to the front to ask the question.
And the answer is very short and polite. You can just say, yes, I have, or no, I have not. We do not need to repeat the whole sentence about the movie.
Ryan, what is a really interesting food that you have tried in your life? Give me a sentence using the helper have to describe your experience.
I have eaten spicy street food in Mexico. It was incredibly hot, but the flavors were amazing. I will never forget that exciting travel experience.
That sounds completely terrifying to me. I do not like spicy food at all, but your sentence was absolutely perfect. You connected a past memory to your life today.
Using these words correctly just takes a bit of practice in daily situations. For example, think about how often we use them when we are traveling or rushing to the airport. They are essential for travel conversations.
Oh, travel is the perfect example. People use all of these verbs constantly when they are stressed at the airport. Imagine we are rushing to catch a flight right now. Hey Ryan, do you have your passport in your bag? We are leaving in 20 minutes and I do not want to be late.
Yes, I have my passport right here in my jacket pocket. I am packing my phone charger into my suitcase right now. Did you call the taxi company this morning?
I did call them an hour ago. The taxi driver is waiting for us downstairs. Does the hotel have our room reservation ready for tonight?
They do have it ready. I called the front desk yesterday evening. The receptionist was very helpful and she upgraded our room for free.
That is fantastic news. Have you checked the weather in London for tomorrow? I am bringing a heavy jacket, but I hope it is not raining when we arrive.
I have checked the weather report online. It is going to be cold, but the sky is clear. We do not need our umbrellas for the first day of the trip.
I am very glad to hear that. I was packing my umbrella just in case the weather was bad. Did you print the train tickets for our journey from the airport?
I did not print them, but I have the digital tickets on my phone. The train company has a great mobile application. Are you ready to walk downstairs to the taxi?
I am completely ready. I have my bags and I locked the front door. Let us go to the airport and start our vacation.
That was a very smooth airport conversation. We naturally used so many variations of be, do, and have. When you asked, do you have your passport? You used the helper do for the question and have for possession.
We also use the continuous form nicely. I said, I am packing my phone charger. The helper am showed the action was happening right in that exact moment while we were talking.
And we use the past tense to ask questions too. You asked, did you call the taxi? The helper did made it very clear that you were asking about my morning tasks.
I also used the past tense of be when I talked about the hotel worker. I said, the receptionist was very helpful. It is so interesting to notice these little words when we speak normally in everyday life.
It really shows that you do not need to memorize complicated textbooks to speak English well. You just need to listen to natural conversations and practice the simple patterns over and over again.
Exactly. Just remember that is, has, and does are for one single person. And always remember the simple past tense forms like was, were, had, and did. The rest just comes from everyday practice. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope this topic feels much easier for you to use in real life now.
Just remember, your progress comes from small, daily practice.
If you found this helpful, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to the English Cast so we can keep learning together.
Keep learning, keep speaking, and keep connecting. Thank you for spending your time with us, and we will see you next time.